All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the biggest, most mind-bending questions out there, the simulation hypothesis. I mean, is it even possible that our whole reality, everything we know, is just some kind of super advanced computer program?
You've seen this in the movies, right? It's the whole idea behind the Matrix. But here's the thing. This concept has broken out of science fiction. It's now being seriously debated in the hallways and labs of some of the smartest physicists and philosophers on the planet.
And this quote from Dan Falk really nails the sheer scale of what we're talking about. This isn't just asking if, some parts of our lives are staged. This is asking if reality itself, the very ground floor of existence, is totally different from what we think it is.
So yeah, for a long, long time, this was just a cool what-if scenario, a fun thought experiment. But everything shifted back in 2003. That's when an Oxford philosopher named Nick Bostrom published this incredible paper that basically forced the academic world to stop laughing and start taking this idea seriously.
Now, what's so clever about Bostrom's argument is that he didn't try to prove we are in a simulation. Nope. Instead, he laid out this brilliant logical trap, a kind of puzzle, at the very heart of his argument, the philosopher's trilemma.
So a trilemma is basically a fork in the road, but with 3 paths instead of 2. And Bostrom's whole point is that if you make just a few pretty reasonable assumptions about where technology is headed, you have to conclude that one of 3 extremely wild things about our universe has to be true.
And here are the 3 choices. It's a heck of a menu. Option 1, we're toast. Humanity goes extinct before we ever get to that posthuman, super advanced stage. Option 2, we make it. But for whatever reason, these future godlike civilizations have zero interest in running simulations of their primitive ancestors. Or option 3, they are interested, they do run them, and they run tons of them. And if that's the case, because there would be billions of simulated people for every one real person, the odds are overwhelming that we're one of them, right now.
So okay, how seriously do people take that third option? Well, the philosopher David Chalmers looked at this whole argument and he put a number on it. He suggests there's at least a 25% chance that we are, in fact, living inside a computer. Think about that. A 1 in 4 shot.
So there you have it. Those are the 3 doors: extinction, disinterest, or simulation. Bostrom's logic says it's almost certainly got to be one of them. The billion-dollar question, of course, is, which one?
All right, so if one of these has to be true, where should we place our bets? Let's break down the actual arguments that people are making on both sides of this incredible hypothesis.
The case for being in a simulation is really a bet on progress. You just look at how fast our own computing power is growing and you project that forward. As Rich Terrell from NASA said, we're getting pretty close to being able to create these universes ourselves. But the case against is just as compelling. It starts with a simple question. Why? Why would they even bother simulating us? It also points to the physics. Simulating quantum mechanics across an entire universe might just be impossible. And at the end of the day, there's the biggest argument of all. We have absolutely zero direct physical evidence. None.
And the physicist Lisa Randall really hits on that why question perfectly. I mean, think about it. If you had infinite computing power, you could simulate anything. So why would this super advanced species choose to simulate us? Our boring meetings, our traffic jams? It's a really good question.
Okay, but this is where the whole thing takes another twist. What if the best argument against the simulation theory actually comes from taking it one step further? This is what's known as the simulator's dilemma.
Think about it. If we could create a perfect simulation of reality, and the people inside that simulation eventually got advanced enough to create their own simulation, then how do we know that our creators aren't just sims themselves?
And that opens up this wild idea of sim levels. It's like a set of cosmic nesting dolls, simulations running inside other simulations, which are running inside other simulations, each level having no idea about the one above it.
So here's the kicker, the crucial point. Each one of those nested simulations draws a massive amount of computing power from the original base-level reality. So, as philosopher Preston Green points out, if you're a sim and you decide to fire up your own ancestor simulation, you might use up the last available bit of processing power, and that could cause a system-wide crash for everyone. It would basically pull the plug on your entire universe. So if any civilization even suspects it might be in a simulation, it has a very, very good reason for self-preservation. Don't create one yourself. And all of a sudden, Bostrom's disinterest option starts to look a lot more plausible.
Okay, so we can't prove it. The logic seems to tie itself in knots. You're probably asking yourself, so what? Why does any of this actually matter?
And that's a fair question. The real value here isn't about finding the right answer. Honestly, it's about what happens to us when we ask the question. When you really wrestle with the simulation hypothesis, it forces you to face the very real limits of what we can know. It forces a bit of humility. It makes you realize that our picture of reality might just be a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle. And that brings us right back to Nick Bostrom, the guy who kicked this whole modern debate off. For him, this was never just some clever brain teaser. It's a real tool for philosophy. It's his attempt to figure out our place in the universe, using pure logic to see where it leads, no matter how strange the destination is.
And so, at the end of it all, we're left with this question from the technologist Rizwan Virk. Because if our reality is some kind of program, then the question isn't just about what reality is. The question becomes, what kind of game are we in? And more importantly, how do we want to play it?